Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Shannon Show. So a couple of things before we get started and address the big pile of books right here. First off is I'm just getting over a cold, which is why I'm kind of talking a little bit quieter to not strain my voice. And I still have a little bit of congestion and stuff. I'm still drinking water and still keeping hydrated and eating. So excuse any congestion that you might hear or notice. And the second thing is I am going to be taking a break from posting videos in June. I'm still hoping to do the Book Tag Tuesdays and the Monthly Thursdays videos for June on the last Tuesday and the last Thursday of the month. I'm going to see about doing them. I want to do them, but if I don't get around to them, I don't get around to them, and that's okay. But hopefully I can get around to them. So yeah, no videos for June. And regularly scheduled Friday posts will begin again on July 4th, I believe it is, the last Friday of July, or the first Friday of July actually, which coincidentally is also Anime Expo. So, oh, also one last thing, July will be Anime Expo anime related videos. Well, not Anime Expo related videos, but because I'm not going to Anime Expo, but I'm still going to be doing anime related videos, like a manga book tag, maybe watching a couple of anime and doing some other anime related topics. So look forward to that, but I won't be doing my usual Anime Expo weekend posts videos. So it's just going to be the normal Friday schedule, like videos every Friday schedule, and not how I've done Anime Expo in the past. So just because I'm not going, like I said, which is fine. It is fine, but I mean that with all sincerity, it's perfectly fine. So with all that said, let's get into this video. So today is the last day of May 30th, and tomorrow is June 1st. And considering that, I wanted to give some summer reading recommendations, some summer book recs, and this is what this pile is here for. There is one book that I don't have the physical edition of because I unhauled it, and there's two of these recommendations that I'm only going to be showing the first up, but the first book of the series up. Excuse me. But I am recommending the full series. So there's that. And, well, there's actually more than two. But with that out of the way. And I think there's one in here that I haven't read, but considering what the book is about, it's fitting for summer. So with all that said, let's get into this list. So the first it's more of an author recommendation, but I'm going to show up this book. It's Any Book by Natasha Lester. This is The Three Lives of Alex St. Pierre. It's one of her more recent books. I think she has her other book out, the Mademoiselle Alliance. I can't say that word right now, but The Three Lives of Alex St. Pierre by Natasha Lester. And to give a description, because I'm trying to do that a little bit more. A stunning novel of a Hollywood orphan turned World War II spy turned fashion icon in Paris. Alex St. Pierre is an unforgettable name for an unforgettable woman. She grew up surrounded by Hollywood glamour, but as an orphan, never truly felt part of that world. In 1943, with World War II raging and men headed overseas to fight, she lands a publicity job to recruit women into the workforce. Her skills, persuasion, daring, quick wit under pressure catch the attention of the U.S. government, and she finds herself with an even bigger assignment, being sent to Switzerland as a spy. Soon, Alex is on the precipice of something very big, but how far can she trust her German informant? After an Allied victory that cost her way too much, Alex moves to Paris, ready to immerse herself in the new position as director of publicity for the yet-to-be-launched House of Dior. In the glamorous halls of the French fashion house, she can nearly forget everything she lost in the dangerous and the dangerous secret she carries. But when a figure from the war reappears and threatens to destroy her future, Alex realizes that she only can right the wrongs of the past and finally... Oh, I think I misread that. But when a figure from the war reappears and threatens to destroy her future, Alex realizes that only she can right the wrongs of the past and finally find justice. Now, I've talked about this a little bit before on this channel, but there was a time in my life where I was only reading history, nonfiction stuff, and then mythology. And Natasha Lester was the one who got me like back into fiction. And I absolutely fell in love with her work. She's an auto-buy author. I love all of her works. Maybe I'll do like a video like ranking Natasha Lester books, but and maybe covers too, because there are some slight cover differences. But I love her. I love her so much. I love her works so much. Now the next one, it's kind of like a 2-in-1 recommendation, but I'm going to show one at a time. So it's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. For The Lord of the Rings, I'm only going to show Fellowship, and I'm only going to talk about Fellowship. But to go over The Hobbit, both of these by J.R.R. Tolkien. So this is a book about Bilbo Baggins. I was just reading over it just to see what this description says. So, and Bilbo is a hobbit, and he's visited by the Grey Wizard Gandalf to go on an adventure. And this adventure is with 13 dwarves to reclaim their homeland. I don't feel like I need to talk about it too much just because it is a very popular book and it's been out for quite some time now. Very good book, very good read for the summer. And then there's... So I had to step away for a minute, but next up is The Fellowship of the Ring, and in this one we're following Bilbo's nephew Frodo as he sets out to destroy the One Ring of Sauron. Again, I'm not going to explain too much about it because it's been out for a while and pretty well known. Now, the next one is Murder Your Employer by Rupert Holmes, and this one I've been trying to get into like more cozy adjacent murder mystery stuff, and this one was like the perfect, it's not quite cozy, but it's like cozy adjacent murder mystery, and it's really funny. So to go over the description, who hasn't wondered what the world would be like if the person who is the object of your affliction ceased to exist? At the McMaster's Conservatory, future deletists, never murderers, learn the consummate execution of the homicidal arts. To this sumptuous campus come three memorable classmates: the self-effacing Cliff Jeff Iverson, traveled Gemma Lindley, and Hollywood diva Doria May, all of whom have suffered menacing employers who richly deserve a deadly denouncement. Under the tutelage of Dean Harbinger, I just got that. I mean, I knew about it, but like I just remembered. Heroine, in the fascinating faculty of McMaster's halls of poison ivy, they honed their craft, each hoping to finesse a perfectly masterful murder. So this was such a fun read, and it's like perfect for the summer because it's like it's lighthearted enough, and it doesn't take itself very seriously, because it is like, it is meant to be kind of funny because it's like they're going to a school to learn how to kill people. They're deletists, so it's like it doesn't take itself super seriously. Now the next one is Spitting Gold by Carmella Lowkis, and this is one I don't have the physical copy for. Do I have any others that I don't have physical? Okay, all the others I have physical copies for. So Let's see. I'm trying not to refer to Amazon and Goodreads, but excuse me. So with Spinning Gold, Paris 1866, when Baroness Sylvie Devereaux receives a house call from Charlotte Moth, the sister she disowned. She fears her shady past as a spirit medium has caught up with her. But with her father ill and Charlotte unable to pay his bills, Sylvie is persuaded into one last con. Their marks are on the Dejaquinol. I was having trouble with that. A dysfunctional aristocrats who believe they are hunted by their great aunt, brutally murdered during the French Revolution. Their scheme underway, the sisters display every trick to terrify the family out of their gold. But when inexplicable horrors start to happen to them, too, the duo question whether they really are at the mercy of a vengeful spirit, and whether their deep, dark secrets may come to light. So, this was like a perfect little read. Like, I absolutely loved it. It was really fun, and it kind of plays on that whole con aspect to the paranormal and to mediums. And I don't want to disavow that, because it's like, I do believe in the paranormal, the possibility of the paranormal. And plus, too, like, the way I kind of see it is, if we're willing to believe in a god and in a devil or in multiple gods and demons, then we can't disavow other things that might be out there. If we're willing, like, especially with the monotheistic Abrahamic religions, like, if we're willing to believe in one god and then a devil alternative, we can't disavow everything else just because a book says that nothing else exists. So that's just my opinions. I'm not going to get too much into this because I don't have the vocal energy for it. So the next one is, ooh, I didn't get the other one down. It's okay. So the next one is The Six Crimson Cranes Duology by Elizabeth Lim, and it's also like the books within that world, so Her Radiant Curse as well. Now, this one kind of got me out of this reading slump, which I honestly loved. And so the books in this world are Six Crimson Cranes, The Dragon's Promise, and Her Radiant Curse. I'm only going to talk about this one because spoilery if you talk about the other ones. So, Shioriyama, the only princess of Kyoto, has a secret. Forbidden magic runs through her veins. Normally, she conceals it well, but on the morning of her betrothal ceremony, Shiori loses control. At first, the mistake seems like a stroke of luck, forestalling the wedding she never wanted. But it also catches the attention of Raikama, her stepmother, a sorceress in her own right. Raikama banishes the young princess, turning her brothers into cranes. She warns Shiori that she must not speak of it. She must speak of it to no one, for with every word that escapes her lips, one of her brothers will die. Penniless, voiceless, and alone, Shiori searches for her brothers and uncovers a dark conspiracy to seize the throne. Only Shiori can set the kingdom to rights, but to do so, she must place her trust in a paper bird, I'm having trouble with that word. Mercurial dragon, and the very boy she fought so hard not to marry. And she must embrace the magic she's been taught all her life to forswear, no matter what the cost. So there's that series, and I love this book. Like, as I said, it got me out of reading slump. It's based on one of my favorite stories, like the Wild Swans, the Three Ravens. Absolute beautiful story. And then the next one is the one I haven't read, and that is, I hope to get to it this summer, Hexed by Emily McIntire. This is the last installment of the Never After novels, so the Never After series, and it kind of makes me sad. I also have Crossed to read, so there's this. And this is like the thickest one, I think. Anyway, not a big deal. So he's the prince of La Costa Nostra. She's the witch who steals his heart. Vanessa Anderson has never been good. She wasn't good enough for her parents. And she isn't good enough for the gangster uncle who took her in after they died. But she's cunning, beautiful, dutiful to her uncle's demands. And she doesn't have time for a moral compass. Anyway. When her runaway cousin returns to their coastal southern town, she brings him in with her. And Vanessa soon realizes he's the only one who's ever... And Vanessa soon realizes he's the only one who's ever seen her for her. There's only one problem. She can never have him. So, Emily McIntire writes really good books, really good romance books. And I'm not a big romance person, so... It is spicy though, so be forewarned if you want to get into that. So the next book is Almost There by Farrah Rochon, and this is a Disney twisted tale that answers the question of what if Tiana had made a deal with Facilier. I don't recommend reading the inside cover synopsis because it gives a big spoiler away, which you don't need to know until it happens in the book, so do not read the synopsis. And I'm going to go into my manga and manhwa now for Rex because I feel like summer, I mean, maybe it's just because I would always go to Anime Expo, but I'm going to stop talking about that. So, I feel like summer is a great time to read manga and manhwa because usually on the whole, they're on the shorter side, not super long. Generally, well, it depends on what you gravitate towards, but some lightheartedness, some summery vibes, usually like a summer beach arc in the story. So the first one I'm going to recommend is, and these are all recommending the series, even if I haven't finished them yet, all recommending the series. So the first one is Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Kui. I first watched the anime. I cannot wait for the next season to come out. And this seems to be a habit with me, excuse me, where I watch the anime first and then read manga, which I know probably twists a lot of people's fannies, but it's mine. And I fell in love with the anime. It was so fun, so lighthearted, and I feel like it's that perfect mix of D&D, cooking, and adventure for me that like I absolutely love. It's kind of goofy at times, but like I love this. Okay, so something I realized is I grabbed them in the wrong order, or at least these two series. So the first one I'm going to recommend is InuYasha, and then Yashahime afterwards, and I stuck Yashahime on top. But this one, I think I finished the anime, or I think I finished manga. I can't quite remember. It's been a little while. But I watched the anime first and then read the manga. But this was like one of my first anime that really got me into it. I can't remember which exactly was my first, but this was like up there, like in the top first 3. And I love this story. It's kind of like your typical 1990s manga. Like first published in like 1997, so it's your typical mid to late 1990s manga and story and art, but it's so good. I feel like that last little comment was a diss, and I apologize, I didn't mean it like that, but very typical for that time period in manga and anime. But I absolutely love this, and it's such a good adventure story, and it's like good with what it was and what it tried to do. And essentially, so for the background, Kagome is no ordinary modern schoolgirl living an ordinary life. That was a tongue twister for some reason. Who would have thought the dried up old well on the site of a family shrine would be a gateway to Japan's ancient past? Drawn through the gate against her will, Kagome finds herself battling demons for control of what she thought was a worthless trinket, but it's actually a powerful magical gem, the Shikon Jewel. Is it? Never mind, it's Shikon no Tama in Japanese. Together with an unlikely ally, the half-demon InuYasha, Kagome begins a quest to recover the shards of the Shikon Jewel and learn more about her link to the past. So it's very typical. Girl saves. Girl travels to like another world or the past and saves it. So it's very much a comfort story for me. I am trying to collect the manga and then maybe reread it, or at least these big ones, and maybe try to reread it. So that's not gonna happen this year though. And then there's like the sequel with the Descendants, and that is Yashahime, or Princess Half Demon. And again, you're following the Descendants, the next generation. Can the 3 teenage daughters of demon dog half-brothers InuYasha and Sesshomaru save their parents, themselves, and both realms from the menace of the 7 mystical rainbow pearls? So I'm not going to talk too much about this one because it'll give a little bit away, and plus too, like, it'll give a little bit away about the end of InuYasha, and I don't want to do that. But I did have some issues with like the anime, which did I talk about it in my watch of that? I don't think I did. But like, I had a couple of issues because it was like, like just some like unresolved points, and it's like, again, it was only 2 seasons. It was only 2 seasons, so it's like they did what they could, and I liked how they kept it short. And I think the manga came after the anime, I think, and the manga is still coming out, I think. But maybe the manga will resolve that. But like, there was a part of me that like, I wanted Rin to say something. I wanted someone to say something to Sesshomaru. If you know, you know. I love Sesshomaru with my whole heart. He was my crush. He was my biggest crush. I'm like, I wanted someone to say something to him, because it's like, I love him, but I'm like, boy. Anyway, we're gonna move on. So next up is Fruits Basket, and this one, I do remember finishing this one and loving it. And I haven't watched the newer adaptation, and I've talked about that before, but I love this story. And you're following Toru, who has a tragic life upheaval, and she's in high school, and she ends up moving into a tent, and it's on the private property of the Soma family. So she moves in with them, and then she discovers that 14 members of the Soma family are cursed to turn into the 12th Chinese zodiac, and then the cat, and then the 14th one is like, is that a spoiler? I mean, in my mind, it's not really a spoiler, because it's talked about like pretty early on, at least in the old anime. I don't remember, but like, you have like the 14, so like 12 Chinese zodiac, the cat, and then one other who's kind of in on the curse. And some of the extended family members know, some don't, but yeah. So she learns to live with them and kind of help them break the curse. Okay. And then next up are some of my manhwa, and the first one is The Perks of Being an S-Class Heroine, and the story is by Irinbi, and the art is by Grrrr. And I read this in my Anime Expo reading vlog, post Anime Expo reading vlog last year. Loved it. Fell in love with the story. So I highly recommend this series. I've only read the first 2. So from cooking to, tutorial start, from cooking to alchemy to even brewing tea, Elliot Rodeland is a certified child prodigy thanks to her secret weapon. She's a transmitigator. Having purchased an insurance package at the moment of her entitlement end, Elliot has the perks of a top tier support system and an item shop to fall back on. And in the world of a notoriously brutal time loop novel, she's going to need all the help she can get. Because with a hero slated for an early death, Aliette may just have to become an S-class heroine herself. And it's like, this is just so cute and kind of cozy to an extent. I know it's probably not going to be super cozy for long, but like, so cute, so cozy. I love the art in it, and it's like, I just love this so much. And then the next one is Villains Are Destined to Die by Sewell, original story by one. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the last name, but I absolutely love this story. And again, I read it in the post-anime expo reading blog. I absolutely fell in love. A villain living life in hard mode, whose every path leads to death. Playing daughter of the Duke's super love project as the easy mode heroine, Yvonne makes charming the male characters a breeze. But once he switched to hard mode and stepped into the shoes of Penelope, the misunderstood villain, it's nearly impossible to even stay alive. So when the shock of suddenly waking up in Penelope's body, you know right away that your life is on the line. With love interests who will kill you if their affection meters drop too low, and the inability to speak without choosing from pre-selected dialogue, it quickly becomes clear that Penelope's chances have been rigged right from the start, and this villain might just be destined to die. So, like, if you like the romance, I'm blanking what those were called. There's like games, the romance games that you would like choose, like Masquerade Kiss. Why was that the first one that came to mind? Voltage 365, so like Be My Princess, Paris in Love. I know there was another one. Why am I blanking on what those are called? Romance simulator games. Like, if you like that, you'll probably like this, because it's like a really interesting twist, because usually in those games you weren't able to play like a villain, or you didn't have like a lot of choice in what you could say or do, and usually like it was either like one dramatic ending or the other, and like nothing really in between. So you would like this if you like those romance. I can't for the life of me remember what they're called, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. And then the last one on this list is Heaven's Official Blessing by Mojiang Tongju. And this is a whole series. I've only read up to 4, but a whole series recommendation because I love it. Like, there are parts of this that don't really feel summery, but at the same time it's like, it's kind of like a nice change up, and sometimes you need something a little darker in the summer while still romancy. I love this. So, to give the description: a god fallen, a ghost risen, born the crown prince of a prosperous kingdom, Ji Lian was renowned for his beauty, strength, and purity. His years of dedicated study and noble deeds allowed him to ascend to godhood, but those who rise may also fall, and fall he does, cast from the heavens and banished to the world below. 800 years after his mortal life, Ji Lian has ascended to godhood for the 3rd time, angering most of the gods in the process. To repay his debts, he is sent to the mortal realm to hunt down the violent ghosts and troublemaking spirits who prey on the living. Along his travels, he meets a fascinating and brilliant Songlong, a young man with whom he feels an instant connection. Yet Songlong is clearly more than he appears. What mysteries lie behind that carefree smile? I love this. I love this. I watched the anime first, and I'm not ashamed of that. Like, this, like, I feel like that really got me back into like the anime swing, and this is like my little open door to manhwa, and I absolutely love this. I got the 3rd volume. Where is it? I got the 3rd volume signed by the artist. Okay, because I go to her booth when I've gone to Anime Expo, Zelda CW. I got the 3rd volume signed by the artist. So, it's in there. Because she does the inside artwork. Yeah. Where did she sign it? Did she sign it in the back? Oh, yep. And I was like so happy that I got it. And I was reading this at Animax because I was like, I want her to sign one of them, but if I'm gonna bring a book, I want it to be something that I'm reading. So I was like reading this one at Animax and then got it signed by her. So I'm really happy about that. So that is the, wow, I talked for like 30 minutes. That is the end of this video. If you have any other summer reading recommendations you'd like to throw out in the comments, please do so down below. They don't have to be for me specifically, but if you liked something and you read it in summer, feel free to recommend that down below in the description, in the comments. If you have something that you think I would like based on kind of this selection, also leave that down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching. As usual, the list is down below in the description, and if you want to like refer to any of them, leave them down below or they're down below in the description, and leave your recs down below in the comments like I've said. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.